Hello, I'm Org, and this time we are in World of Warplanes, and I'm going to show you 3 games in my Bf-110E, which is the Tier 5 German heavy fighter. This is the first time I've kind of had a video about the 110E on this channel, but well, you've seen it before if you've been paying attention, because all of my videos about the changes to Matchmaker while I was flying out in this aircraft. So it's not really new to people on this channel. It's also not really new to people who have been flying it in game, because it's really just a slightly better Bf-110B in every way. Yeah, it's not quite as overpowered as the 110B, mainly because there's the P-38F, which can challenge it. But in this game, well, it's not really anything to challenge me. So I'm just going to kind of show you this one so you all can see the power of the Bf-110E when it kind of dominates the match. So see me diving down this 109B, a Tier 4 German fighter, but I break off the attack because I wasn't going to do very well. Level out and come in again. Well, I see a Bf-110C, and well, it's a nice easy kill because I can outrun it and outturn it, and well, I can't actually outgun it, but I kind of can because it's only got one 30mm cannon. But anyway, here we go, nice easy kill. Well, it will be in a minute. There you go. That guy didn't have a chance. We see an IL-2 mod, the premium Tier 5 ground attack aircraft. It's already damaged, so I should be able to take a lot of its health off just here. But I really should have been cutting back on the throttle a bit, because I go slamming past it and almost crash into the ground there. And well, I've got one kill, but my team's managed to do the rest, and there's only one enemy aircraft left. Got an assist on that IL-2, and this one is kind of the one aircraft that could theoretically have challenged me. It's an F4F, a Tier 5 American multi-role fighter. And I say theoretically it could challenge me because in practice, so long as I keep my speed up, and ideally have an altitude advantage over it, it basically can't touch me. Well, it can touch me, but it can't do much damage. But, well, it managed to kill our IL-2, but it looks like it was pretty heavily damaged in the process, and yep, it's only 4% of its hit points left. And I thought for a second it was going to go head on with me, but well, it changed its mind, but that means nothing. Kill number 2 and an assist, and that is what the 110E can do when it's kind of top tier. And well, this game, it's kind of the same, in that there's myself and a Spitfire being the Tier 5 representatives on my team, and the enemy team has no Tier 5s. But it's slightly more challenging because they have a lot of Bf-110Bs and Heinkel 112, which, while inferior to my aircraft, they're not that inferior. And there are a lot more of them than there are me, and plus we don't really have much in the way of Tier 4 aircraft to fight them. So we're on National Park, and as you tend to do in National Park, I was expecting my team to all meet up in the centre, but they haven't. Well, 4 of us are here, the other 2 are just off, one on each flank, which means that if the enemy does go to either flank, well, we're going to lose one aircraft and probably gain very little from it. So I'm climbing for altitude here, mainly because I want to be above that 110B flight. I should have mentioned they're also in a flight, which means that because they can coordinate a bit better, they're also a bit more dangerous. So I really want to be above them when we spot them, which I'm expecting will be pretty soon, provided they've gone to the centre, which there is no guarantee of, especially with a flight, since they can, like I said, coordinate a bit better. Plus, since they all start as a group, well, could mean that half the team started in the north or the south, but nope, they've all come into the centre. And fortunately, I'm above them, but not a lot above them. It also looks like they haven't actually spotted us, and they're all still heading up north to attack whatever that was strafing up north. And I'm trying to look at going for... Let's watch target to go for at this point. Kind of the BF-110B that's further away is higher altitude, so theoretically it's the bigger threat. But the other one's closer, and I could probably put a few shots into it on the way through. Well, actually, no, now it's not. Now the one furthest away, well, now the one closest is the one that's highest, thanks to the manoeuvring and my coming on their tail. And it still looks like this guy hasn't noticed us. Oh, no, it's turning. Is it going to come head on? Nope, so I misjudged. I thought it was going to come head on, so I aimed a bit shallower there. Still got a few hits in. Just keep my nose up for a bit, retain my altitude advantage. And then I'm diving down this one because it looks like it's basically focused on a friendly aircraft. So I should be able to get a big long burst in there, like you saw, before it tries to evade. And then break off in a straight line. And I see my team's on its tail, so it's not going to be engaging me. But I've still managed to keep my altitude advantage is the main thing here. Okay, I don't really see any great targets here. The 110B is manoeuvring. This F4F isn't though. Oh, it did it last minute. I should have predicted that a bit better. Well, it's an F3F. Why do I think it was an F4F? Probably just the colour. But anyway, it's almost dead. And my tail gunner puts in a few shots as well. Got an well, I've got 2 assists just then on the 2 enemy aircraft I've shot at. And coming back around for another pass. Still the Heinkel 112 and a BF-110B down in front of me. And there's another F3F around somewhere. The 110B is shooting at me, but I'm ignoring it. Instead putting shots into the Heinkel 112. And there's my first kill. I kind of ignored the 110B because I just didn't want to go head on with it. I would have lost a lot more health than I lost in that sense. But with my team on its tail, I just didn't feel the need to challenge it in that way. See here now, the BF-110B, it's doing the right thing and that it's climbing to evade my friendly fighters, but of course I can outclimb this guy pretty easily. And well, I get to put in a nice long burst there. And I turn onto its tail. Unfortunately it's well focusing down one of our fighters, so it doesn't evade my fire. And well, that was a bit mean, I feel. The guy never really had a chance. It's in a superior aircraft. I could beat it at its own game essentially. I mean, and even if it started to turn with me, there was an I-16 and I think a Spitfire pretty nearby, so that wasn't a winning strategy for it either. Yeah. I think that flight needed to coordinate itself a little bit better, but kind of one of them stayed up high and the other two dove down low. And then they tried to climb back up to help out the one that was up high, and it just didn't work out for them. I mean, you shouldn't. You would expect it not to. I suppose for some reason they just didn't seem to notice that my whole team was just coming in on their tail. Because it looked like the first two just dove down, you know, they were trying to do attacks on enemy aircraft below them. And they just really didn't notice that we were up there behind them. Anyway, the next game. And this time it's a lot fairer. As in, this is actually the old matchmaking when they made sure absolutely every game was basically fair. Actually, if anything, I'd be giving the advantage to the enemy team, since we mostly have turn fighters, low altitude turn fighters, whereas they've got a 209V and a P40, which should give them an advantage at high altitude. And they've also got a P38F, which is basically the nemesis of the BF-110E. It can outrun, outdive, outturn, and I think even outroll this guy, or outroll my aircraft. The only advantage I have is that I'm a lot more durable and have better firepower. But so long as the P38F doesn't come head on with me, I'm probably going to be in a hard time defeating that guy. Well, that's theoretically. P38F fighter pilots, they've come out of the fighter line. It's usually their first experience of heavy fighters. So they tend to like flying it low and trying to turn fight with it a bit. So I get lucky. We've spotted the 209V and the P38F. 209V is weak if it's going to come at me, but no, you can clearly see there it's turning away, doesn't want to fight me. So I'm going to have to try and go head on with a P-38F and hope it doesn't have rockets. And it's coming around at me. No, it's not. It's looking at one of my teammates up above me. So I'm getting some shots in. And it rolls towards me and... wow, that was my nemesis gone. That's actually probably one of the easiest P-38F kills I've had in this aircraft. I mean, especially considering it was... well, it was at a higher altitude than me, but it was flying rather slow. But still, I would have expected it to basically not just fly straight into my bullets like it did. Anyway, back to the game. We see our friendly Zeros engaging an enemy Zero down low. So I decide to come in and add some firepower since, well, it's an even match. And I get a pretty good burst in there considering how agile the A6M2 is. I was going to say it can be difficult to hit turning fighters at low altitude, but it's probably actually pretty easy, I just suck at it. And it looks like that A6M2 is probably going to die, our friendly Zero's on its tail. And, well, it should be able to finish it off eventually. But the big concern I have here is that, well, they're fighting directly over enemy AA guns, which will tear apart a Zero in no time at all. So instead of going for the Zero, I actually dive down and take out the AA guns for my ally. And then I realise there's a second bunch of AA guns up on this hill here, which kind of ruins my plan. I try to take them out, but I really don't have time for a decent burst. Loop back over and come round, and I see that, well, the enemy Zero's got on our Zero's tail. So, well, it kills our friendly Zero, but I finish it off. And so I decide there's no point me being here anymore under AA fire, so I leave. There's only two enemy aircraft left, the 209V and the IL-2. And the 209V's kind of got to be my target here. It's got excellent altitude performance, and, well, I'm basically the only aircraft on my team that can come close to keeping up with it in a climb. But luckily I was at equal altitude with it to start with, so this should be rather straightforward. It's climbing up, and I'm using my boost. And, well, I didn't quite get the kill, but I think I did a fair bit of damage there. Okay, IL-2. Coming straight down, which isn't actually a good way of doing it, but at least this time I've cut back on my throttle and extended my flaps, so I'm slowing down to get a nice long burst in. And, well, I get my third kill, which kind of seems a bit odd. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.